Keith Paints.
Hello, and welcome to Keith Paints. Today, I'm making movement trays and bases for my Purpley Black Legion with a Chaos Star made out of lava theme. I made a template out of a scrap of chipboard that I had, then used it to cut out 2 pieces of this black chipboard to act as a base for the movement trays. I used the same template to cut out 4 pieces of 2mm craft foam, 2 for each movement tray. I tried using this piece of plastic pipe that I sharpened to cut out perfect holes. It worked okay in the cork, but not so well in everything else. The cork is 1mm thick, which is to make up for the difference between the 4mm of craft foam and the 3mm height of the MDF blanks that I got from Green World stuff. After drawing the guide holes, I attempted to use the pipe again. It only did well enough to mark where I needed to cut with scissors. I drilled holes in the chipboard and cleaned them up with an emery board. The bottom right hole in my template must be off because I had to move the bottom right hole in both of them, which you'll see a little bit later. The magnets I put in are a little bit taller than the chipboard, and I want the top flat, so I put it upside down and applied super glue to the bottom. It looks kind of messy, but who's looking at the bottom? I glued the cork down to each of the MDF blanks, and then trimmed the edges. I used the bases to accurately place the craft foam, and then glued them down. Now it's time to cut tiles. They tend to warp a little bit if you put too much pressure on them, and I wasn't really happy with the tiles that I cut for my Chaos Cultists. What I found that worked was to take the blade out of my box cutter and then use the whole thing to gently saw through a number of pieces at once. I put some sticky tack underneath each of the bases to make sure they did not rotate while I was working on them. I used a red paint marker to draw the 8-pointed star, and then hot glue on top of that to make lava. You kinda have to get the hot glue right on the first try, because if you mess up and you have to try and fix it, it usually ends up looking pretty terrible. I cut all the bases free and trimmed the glue so they would fit neatly into the movement trays. I used some pieces of cork to build up one of the center bases where the Chaos Cultist champion will stand. This is where the ground has cracked open and all the lava is spilling out of. I used my glue gun to inject glue into the center of it and ended up pulling out one piece that I didn't think looked quite right, but I ended up leaving it because I was afraid of making it look worse. the fun part. I test placed each tile, and then used a knife to mark where I wanted to cut it, and then cut it with scissors and glued it down. This was very time consuming, and I ended up getting a headache from sniffing too much super glue, I presume. I primed the whole thing with a plain black gesso. I did my best to get in between all the tiles, but you can still pick out some white spots on the finished piece. I really should have got black craft foam. I used Armageddon dust on all the outside edges, but not on the inside edges, because I didn't want to interfere with the way the bases rested in the movement tray. I started by base coating the lava with corn red. This took about 4 layers. I used Rhinox hide to paint all the edges and the cork on the bases, so they look like there is some ground underneath the tiles. Mechanicus Standard Gray to base coat the tiles, first starting with the tops, and then going back and getting all the edges. I followed that up with another layer of Mechanicus Standard Grey, this time roughly stippled on. Next I will stipple on some Dawnstone, but this time mostly near the edges of each of the tiles. I used a wash of Agrax Earthshade to darken down all the tiles. While the wash dried, I returned to the lava. I layered on some Evil Sun's Scarlet, and then some Wild Rider Red. I topped it all off with some Fire Dragon Bright, gently drawing rough circles all over the top of it to give it some texture. Finally, I edge highlighted each and every tile with Celestra Grey. This really made it pop. In the end, I was really happy with this piece, though it did take a very long time. I'd like to model a version that could be 3D printed. So what do you think of my movement trays? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.